ConvertKit or MailChimp? MailChimp or ConvertKit? This is a big decision that I'm going to help you make today. I'm very familiar with both platforms. I've got clients using both, but I myself am only a customer of one of these platforms. I'll share why and make a recommendation in this video. Stay with me. I'm Phil Pallen, a brand strategist. Welcome to my channel where I promise practical advice to build your brand. Today I'm talking about email marketing, and it might not be the most exciting topic that I cover in the world, but as a marketer or as a small business owner, email marketing is very exciting. And for many, it's still one of the most reliable, if not the most reliable way to stay in context, stay on the radar of your customer, growing your audience, making a sale. At least for me, it has been that, and I'll reflect on that a little bit today. When it comes to my own email marketing, I use ConvertKit. I have for years. I've partnered with ConvertKit in the past for videos and for this one, but I am also a customer. I made the switch from MailChimp to ConvertKit years ago, and that switch helped me alone in my business and in my growth. So yes, they're sponsoring today's video, but I still today aim to make a very balanced argument. Key considerations as you decide which one that you want to use for your business. MailChimp is the perfect solution for some. ConvertKit is the perfect solution for others. So now knowing that, let's dive in and take a closer look together. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to first go through ConvertKit, and they actually have a page on their website where they compare ConvertKit and MailChimp. This has some good information. Obviously, there's a little bit of a bias because it's coming directly from ConvertKit, but actually both platforms are positioned in a very different way, and I'll explain. ConvertKit really is designed for creators and smaller e-commerce business owners. The reason I love it, and I'll show you this up close, is its ease of use and its automations. I send hundreds of emails every single day without me having to physically send them. They are automated emails that are set up to send when someone signs up for my list. This feature is exceptional in ConvertKit, and I can't say the same for MailChimp. Every time I hop over here and need to set up something similar in MailChimp, while it's possible, it's confusing, and it's really just a lot more difficult. Who is MailChimp designed for? This is really for small to medium-sized businesses. MailChimp has built its reputation for very visual emails and templates. I have to say their templates are very well designed, they're very easy to use, and they make it easy to access data and analytics for every campaign that you send. The problem for me is that even though I'm a branding guy, I absolutely love visuals, email for me is not the best place to put them. I sometimes use this analogy. When you go and check your mail at home and it's full of colorful junk mail, what are you going to do? You're going to throw it out. But what if you received a handwritten letter, or the online version of this, an email directly from someone? Chances are you're going to pay attention to it and read it, and that is why I like ConvertKit. Examples are coming up in a second on how I make sending emails really easy for myself, but I also replicate this idea of sending an email one-on-one versus a colorful branded email that people are likely to ignore because it feels like advertising. Now, based on price, ConvertKit has a free limited version, which is up to 300 subscribers. They do not have a limit on the number of emails that you can send, which I really like. You can see the plans here on the screen, at least at the time of recording this video. And while some might argue that MailChimp is actually cheaper, so here you're seeing up to 500 contacts with a free plan. However, there is a limit on the monthly email sends, which might mean you arrive at that free plan limit faster. Definitely something to consider as you start making this selection. One more consideration when it comes to subscription price, ConvertKit. This is related to how it's really made for creators, and actually it gives creators the opportunity to monetize their content in multiple ways. It was just announced at their annual conference, so check this out. It's Creator Marketplace, which I have joined recently. This is designed to make it easier than ever for creators to connect, share ideas, and actually grow their audiences together. Also, paid recommendations, since ConvertKit has acquired SparkLoop. Programmatic ads through Live Intent, which are sponsored placements with no minimum ad size. All of these elements are working beautifully together to help you monetize your content. I'll talk in more detail about this in an upcoming video. For now, I'll link to this great blog post in the description below. I think it's going to inspire you. I already mentioned that I've been using ConvertKit for years and I love it. I'll show you why and how it's helped me to grow my own list over 30,000 subscribers since migrating from MailChimp when I think I had roughly 2,000 subscribers at the time. Yes, digging back into my analytics, when I made the switch, which was roughly early June 2018, I know that I came to ConvertKit with around 900 subscribers. Now that was growing slowly, and it started to gradually increase at larger quantities when I figured out something very, very important, which was the creation of freebies, incentivizing people to actually join my list. Well, there's a few things at play here, but I think primarily when you start to see this significant growth in 2021 into 2022 and even into this year, tapered off slightly, but still I have a great number of subscribers every single day that join my list when they go to download something where they're incentivized to receive, for example, a freebie or a digital download in return. Let me show you the type of emails that I often send in ConvertKit. The reason I love this platform so much is that it is so easy to send an email. I have an email template that looks almost identical to my actual email signature. The only difference is that I have an address and an unsubscribe, which by law you have to have. Otherwise, this looks like an email that I would send you if I was emailing you directly. Plain text style emails help me stand out from all the other colorful junk that people receive. Those types of emails feel like an ad and typically people don't pay attention to them. But if someone emails you directly with a compelling message, particularly from someone you know, you're more likely to notice, engage, and reply. And that's why my emails have very limited numbers of visuals. I typically have either one or a small handful of hyperlinks. Sometimes I have no visuals, but I thought for this example I would show you how it would look if I do have a visual. In this case, a live stream YouTube video thumbnail. But that's it. I keep it very simple for people to read and absorb quickly. And this has been absolutely key for me to retain and grow. Now let's compare back to my MailChimp days. This was one of the final emails I sent when I was emailing from MailChimp, and I can honestly tell you I spent a very long time drafting and designing these emails with intricate visuals, PNGs, downsizing them so that people could receive them, designing intricate graphics, even photo shoots for these types of emails, a click to tweet, and honestly, people largely ignored these. The return wasn't proportionate to the amount of time that I would spend to send this. And that for me was a problem. And part of the reason I switched to ConvertKit. Now, reflecting on my growth on ConvertKit, I mentioned sequences a second ago, and you're having a look at them right now on screen. Sequences are emails that send automatically without you having to email one-to-one, and they can be set up to trigger and send when someone takes an action. For example, entering their email address on my website to receive a digital download, like my 100 evergreen content ideas. This is my most successful freebie with nearly 25,000 downloads. And here you can see a very simple plain text email that they receive with one hyperlink with that PDF after they sign up. Up here it's set to send this email immediately after they sign up, and right now I have them turned off, but if I wanted, I could have an automated sequence of several emails that send, for example, 1 day after or 2 days after. A follow-up sequence can be a great idea, particularly if you're wanting to sell something or start to build that kind of trust with your audience. Let's keep going and looking at some of the reasons I absolutely love ConvertKit. I'm going to scroll down here quickly and show you tags in ConvertKit, which are absolutely awesome. Think of these as post-it notes that I can put on my subscribers' profiles. Anytime I use a hyperlink in an email blast, I can not only hyperlink out, but I can actually tag when someone clicks. So I use these to track interests. For example, someone who clicks a link to a product I'm selling. Or if I'm sending an email to gauge people's interests, I can keep track of those as well as tags. The possibilities for tagging are endless in ConvertKit, and there are many ways that you can adapt this for your business. Now, to address limitations, I mentioned that I'm trying to keep this as balanced as possible. In ConvertKit, the analytics that you'll track are limited in comparison to some other email marketing platforms. Here you can see the stats for a campaign that I sent recently, which I had previewed for you. Total number of recipients, unsubscribes, the open rate, as well as the click rate. And if I wanted to track specific link clicks, I can see that here. Totals listed under each link. Certainly, I'm not getting a lot of advanced analytics, but for me, that's totally okay. As a small creator, the truth is this is actually all I need. So I'm not too worried about the limited reporting. Now let's talk about the next limitation, which would be intricate designs in ConvertKit, or really customized templates with lots of visuals. Certainly, they've come a long way in the last few years in giving us content types here that we can actually use to customize our emails. Buttons, dividers, files, personalization like merge tags, videos, icons, and even these predefined layouts. I really like these, and I use these occasionally if I need to put a creative visual in my email. However, you are not going to find the options that you might find in MailChimp or other platforms. The reason being, ConvertKit is simply not designed for that. ConvertKit recognizes the value in what I've described to you as a creator sending an email that actually looks like an email. So if you're relying on tons of intricate visuals and lots of designs, ConvertKit might not be the platform for you. As quick as I am to say how much I love ConvertKit, I still think MailChimp is a great option for some creators. In fact, my colleague and my podcast co-host Lauren uses MailChimp and is justified in doing so. I'll explain. First thing, I think small business owners that are just getting started, Lauren is a great example, might be drawn to MailChimp because it does feel a little more approachable if you are starting from scratch. Their pricing is conducive for you to collect a few more subscribers initially before you have to pay, and the limit on email sends, that 1,000, definitely feels not too limiting to begin building your business before you have to pay. A few other reasons you might be drawn to MailChimp, I'll show you. In this example email, we can begin designing the content. MailChimp lets you choose from two builders, their new beta builder, which uses AI-assisted tools, as well as their classic builder. Let's click on the new builder just for this example, and right away you're seeing lots of really great templates. Lots of visuals, colors, layouts, you name it. For the reasons I've already described, I am not personally drawn to any of these because I feel like I'll put a lot of work into an email blast that almost looks like a website and people are going to interpret that as junk mail versus me actually communicating directly with my audience. But I will say, starting from scratch, I think their email builder and their content types are rivaled by no one, including ConvertKit, if you are wanting to design a really custom email template that you can use moving forward. The second perk of MailChimp I would describe as A/B testing. It's this idea of testing different variations in an email to see what works best, and then sending that most successful variation to the most number of people on your list. In MailChimp, you can send up to 3 variations of an email to determine what works best. So we're going to call this campaign sample. We'll click begin. We'll pretend we're sending this to our entire audience, and now we can talk about variables. This is really impressive. We can test subject line, name even, so the sender's name, the content itself, as well as the send time. Essentially, you decide what percentage of your recipients receive the test combinations, and then the remaining amount of people will receive whatever is most successful in that test. MailChimp is pretty unique in giving these types of variables at an entry level to email marketers. I personally find a need primarily to test the subject line, more so than these other variables. And switching over to ConvertKit, you can see how easy it is to do an A/B test of my subject line. So just by clicking that icon, I can start with the first subject line, and here I might want to modify it in some way. At the time of recording this video, ConvertKit only lets you A/B test subject lines, so that may be a limitation for you. And one more thing to point out, which may have some weight on your consideration, are the number of integrations. I believe MailChimp is the largest email marketing platform out there. Therefore, they have a ton of integrations with popular tools, platforms, website builders, you name it. ConvertKit definitely has a good number of integrations, not as many as MailChimp, but I recommend taking a look here to see if the integrations you need exist. For example, I use Stripe and my website is built on Squarespace. My courses are on Teachable, so I actually have everything I need here. I could simply connect those apps via Zapier, which I often find myself doing. Hopping over to Zapier, you can choose ConvertKit and literally link it with hundreds of apps that aren't listed. Since I already have a Zapier account, this is really straightforward and easy for me. Now, allow me to summarize some key considerations as you decide which platform is right for your business. And to do that, I'm going to refer to this great comprehensive article from HubSpot, which talks about many of the things that I've mentioned in this video, but it goes into even more detail, which might be helpful for you. It breaks it down by category like setup, ease of use, list management, And on that topic, one thing we haven't addressed is that ConvertKit allows you to have one list, whereas MailChimp allows you to have multiple lists. That might not actually be a bad thing. In my case, when I send an email, I'm either sending it to my entire list or a smaller segment of that list, based on segments or tags like we talked about. So even if it reads here as a downside, make sure you think about your own specific needs as a small business owner or as a creator when making the comparison. I really like how at the bottom of this article, they summarize it in 3 simple, actionable bullet points. When to choose ConvertKit, you have a creative or a digital business. You have one list of contacts, like me, and you want support. ConvertKit offers excellent customer support, very quick and helpful. I know from experience. MailChimp might be better for you if you need a wider range of templates, you don't yet have an email marketing budget, and you want some of those integrations like we talked about. I'll link to this article in the description below. I think it's a really good objective one. And hopefully some of the information I've shared based on my own experience has been helpful as you make your decision. There you go. That's my comparison. If you are pressing me on making a recommendation, I think you already know I'm going to recommend ConvertKit for reasons that I've described in this video. If you're looking for an email marketing platform to pull this off, they've got you covered. It's had me covered for years. Linked in the description below so you can try it out for yourself. If you've got any lingering questions, comment below. Let's keep the conversation going on down there. I'll respond to those personally. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. That helps other people discover these videos, which we work hard to create for you. And subscribe for more of my videos on branding, positioning, building, and promoting your brand. Next, I'm sharing a few videos I think you'll be interested in. I'm Phil Pallen. Thanks for watching. Those videos are coming up next.